Hello and welcome to Words of Bandwagon. My name is Will and sat alongside me is Ty.
Hello there.
And we're going to be talking movies and sports and games and pop culture as we try and find the bandwagon and see what people are jumping on. Now today we're going to be discussing Euro 2021. Euro 2020, but it's been moved to 2021. Specifically, Ty, you've picked out your England squad and also starting lineup.
I will honestly be disappointed if Gary didn't choose a squad or a team similar to this. I would be very, very disappointed.
Well, I'm sure he'll be heavily influenced by this podcast. As you might have guessed, this will be one of our sporty podcasts. Now, if that isn't your thing, if this doesn't take your fancy, then why don't you check out one of our other podcasts. We've recently done one where Ty reacts to the Batman trailer. We did one where we talked about the Jake Paul boxing and YouTube versus TikTok boxing, if that's your thing.
That was hard to talk about.
That was hard to talk about. And we've also done we'll be doing other podcasts on gaming. We've got one coming up on the Cyberpunk, so keep subscribe and keep up to date on our social medias so that you don't miss out. Now, moving on to our topic for today. Now, it's not confirmed, but it's assumed that Gareth Southgate will release his squad on May 24th.
Okay.
And our first match, which is the squad that is the match day squad which I want you to pick for, is on the 13th of June, and it's against World Cup semi-finalists that we played, Croatia.
Ooh, I think the squad I've chose, the starting 11
Is it the strongest squad? Is this like World Cup final, this is what you're playing? If you didn't know who the other team was, to obviously play some tactics.
If England got to the Euro final, I'd expect a team like this, you know.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
I've watched a couple of England World Cup squad, England Euro squads.
Yeah.
This is not like a lot of them. Okay, so there might be people that disagree if you're listening to this. If you do, then comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. If you think Ty's being an idiot, just tell him. I'm sure he'll respond just as angrily. But if you do get some comments or discussions going in the YouTube comment section, it probably helps us out because we get a little bit of. I don't know how YouTube works. Maybe their algorithm will think that something interesting is going on in this video and suggest it to more people. So yeah, if you've got any suggestions or if you want to post your team, post it down in the comments below, and we'll reply to them. Now we're just gonna start from the back. Yep. Goalkeeper wise, who are you going for?
Straight away, I think this is pretty easy. Mm-hmm. Basing it on this season, Nick Pope.
Yeah.
I think
that's pretty obvious. Who's coming with him? Who's number 2 and number 3?
I'd bring Dean Henderson from Manchester United.
Okay.
2 solid keepers the whole season. I know that Henderson hasn't had that much of an opportunity, but, you know, out of the top 3 choices that England has at the moment, I would say Pope would be my number 1.
And are you playing Pope in all the matches, or who are you playing for those not less important for lack of respect, but who are you playing on those secondarily important games?
I think it would be Dean Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
I would even...
Any reason?
Pope is solid, like, as a shot stopper, but he does lack a bit with, like, his skills, like passing skills and that. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing where Dean Henderson might be able to slip his way into the starting 11.
That has become such an important asset in a goalkeeper, not just how well you are between the sticks and saving wise, but a lot of teams don't want to give the ball away by booting it downfield, given a 50-50 chance. They want to pass it around the back, and when attackers press, and when we've got Mbappe pressing him in the Euro, I'm going to keep calling it the World Cup. Is he going to be able to stand up with the pressure of a 99 pace Mbappe?
You see, like the thing with the pressure. I don't think England, when it does come together, England can play that style, but sometimes you just need a keeper that's just going to boot up the field, you know?
Yeah.
Especially if you've got fast wingers, you know, just boot up the field, little chase after, reset defensively. And I think that's where my thinking is with Nick Pope coming into the squad.
I was going to say about that, brings up an interesting point about a lot of the teams that are built, there are reasons behind it, obviously, that will break down, but there's statistics and there are ways people want to play. Now, you've said to me before this started that you've picked this team not only because it's how you'd want the England team to play, but you're also going to talk a little bit about how you think Gareth Southgate will want the team to play. Yeah. And is that influenced this team, or are you just going to mention that and how it might?
I think it influenced the selection that I did. So I did like a whole squad, and then I had my starting 11, mm-hmm. and for my starting 11, I would play with 4 at the back, 4-3-3, 4 at the back, 3 midfielders and 3 attackers.
Yeah.
But I think against the stronger team, Gareth Southgate will play 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, and, you know, try and get 5 attackers at all times. And I think that would work. And, you know, well, as we're going to, I'll make it clear which players I've choose for those.
Yeah, when we go through, we'll also discuss where you want your midfielders to play. You know, you've got 2 CDMs, 1 CDM, what's going on. And obviously with the front three, I'm guessing you're not doing a false 9. You're not going to do a Mikel Arteta? No, okay. So we'll move on. Defenders, very juicy position to start off with. Right backs. Now England, out of nowhere, have just started producing tons and tons of world-class right backs. You've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who last year many people would say is the best right back in the world. Yeah. You've also got Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, and of course Wan-Bissaka. Now, who are you going for here?
So I've gone from a start. It would be Wan-Bissaka.
Okay, interesting.
Travelling with the team would be Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker.
Okay, no Trent at all?
No Trent at all.
Is that just his form in the...
I'm just going for the form only. And not... You know what? It's the form, but even if... Actually, no. Yeah, it is the form mainly, but Wan-Bissaka is a better defender than Trent is. And most of the time when England do go to tournaments, they get outdone on the counter-attack. Having Wan-Bissaka there provides that safety net for the attackers.
Yeah, exactly. I think, interestingly, I've got a note written down here, which was, I wasn't expecting you to pick Wan-Bissaka as the starter, basically, just because a lot of the teams I've seen have been Walker starting, but Trent there. But an interesting thing, a positive, some people might disagree with your selection of him, but an interesting positive of picking Wan-Bissaka is that we lock him down as an English international, because he is in danger of going to the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Yeah. He's already decided that as well. So I think he's played games for England already. So.
The guy I was listening to obviously doesn't know his stuff, because he was saying that.
As soon as you play that one international, they've got it locked down. But yeah, Walker's would be travelling as a right back. But going back to Gareth Southgate playing 3 at the back, he could potentially play as one of the centre backs, and that'd leave either Reece James to play as a right wing back. Because I think he's better in that position. He's solid going forward, and defensively he's alright. So I think as a wing back, Reece James would fit in well, and then you take Wan-Bissaka off and play Kyle Walker as a right centre back or a left centre back.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
obviously, Kyle Walker can have that.
Yeah.
He's got that more dynamic.
Yeah, he's done it.
Position changing.
Well. Yeah.
Moving to the centre backs then, and talking of, for a couple of people that I've seen have chosen their centre backs. A lot of people have chosen the same centre backs in all their teams, namely John Stones and Harry Maguire. Have you gone for those two as well?
Yeah. Stones has been arguably one of the best centre-backs apart from his teammate Diaz. He's been one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League this season. You know, all of a sudden he just found form this year, and that's good for England, because Harry Maguire wasn't stepping up to the plate to be that out-and-out centre-back, and I hope that Stones can do it in the Euros. Yeah,
I'd say it's a pretty solid pick. Who is anyone pushing for their positions, or if that's not the case, if one of these two gets injured, who's filling the big boot?
So the other 2 centre-backs that I have in my squad are Tomori, that's Chelsea player on loan at the moment at AC Milan. He's been doing really well. Or Tyrone Mings.
Yeah.
He's had a pretty solid season. I know in the last 5 or 6 games he's had a few mistakes, but overall, a solid defender. Not a starter, certainly. Not a starter, but a good backup to have.
If Joe Gomez is fit, are you playing him?
If you can get back and have 3 or 4 games before the Euros, then he would get into the squad. Still, one start
in the place of Maguire.
No.
In the place of Stones.
In the place of one, either Mings or Tomori. I would not.
Oh,
as
sorry.
you meant as a starter.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no,
he's not taking over.
Yeah, he would not make.
But he's getting in the
starter.
squad.
He would get into the squad. Yeah.
Fair enough. Now we're going to the left back here. Now this is an interesting one. I think a lot of people will say it's either between Shaw or Chilwell. Now a couple of other people I've seen talk about this. They've decided on one or the other because of chemistry. So they've decided on Luke Shaw because of his chemistry with Maguire rather than Chilwell. Obviously, Shaw's got the he's immensely in form at the moment, but Chilwell has been the England player and the man for a while now. Who are you going for here?
I've gone with Luke Shaw. Chilwell is, again, really good attacking player, but I think at this Euros, England needs to focus on securing their defence, and I want a player that's reliable, Shaw does get forward, but he tracks back as well. He puts in a good tackle. It's really hard to be in 1-on-1. I've seen a couple of times this season that Chilwell's been beaten. It's why he didn't get into the Chelsea squad when Thomas Tuchel just arrived. He was too much of a liability, and you don't want him to be that liability. So I would go with Shaw because he's a better defender, in my opinion.
Fair enough. So that is the goalkeeper and the defenders done. We've got Nick Pope in goal, Wan-Bissaka at right back, John Stones and Maguire are the centre-back partnership, and we've got Luke Shaw on the left. Now we're coming to the midfielders. Now you've gone for a 4-3-3. How are you... there are subtle differences, but very important differences in whether you play two CDMs or whether you play centre mids and a cam, or whether you play two cams and a CDM. What mould are you putting those three centre mids in?
I think I'd go one CDM and two centre mids.
One CDM and two centre mids.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Henderson, Jordan Henderson was fit, he'd be easily taking up that centre defensive position.
Okay.
Because he can spray the ball about and he's got an immense work rate. But I think this might be a bit controversial, and he's only had one good season, but it's a good season play at the top level. Jude Bellingham has been sensational for Borussia Dortmund this season. You did say
you were going on form, especially when you picked Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah, and he has been really good for such a young person to be outplaying grown men. He has to be starting games of the Euros, really. I don't think we've got... I know we've got a lot more options as well.
I was going to say, there's a certain someone who a lot of players will be screaming at you for not picking, Declan Rice. What is the reasoning behind his exclusion?
I think if a lot of people watch West Ham this season, he slows their game down a lot, I find. He doesn't make those forward passes. He doesn't make those piercing runs. Souček makes those runs from CDM. He doesn't. He controls the game, and I'm sure you could bring him on at the end of the game to control it, and he's good at that. But you want to see CDM that's as soon as he gets the ball from the centre back, either on the half turn, maybe, or as soon as he gets, he can look up and pass like Jordan Henderson has done.
Yeah.
So many times before for England, as soon as he gets the ball, he's looking up to the wingers and trying to ping a ball out.
Yes. I was going to say, because Declan Rice has been, a lot of people would say, a crucial part of West Ham's success in the Premier League so far. So are you going with purely then, if you said that it's because of his style of play, is it because he wouldn't fit in this team, or is it just because you think Bellingham's a better player in terms of his form?
I'm sure if I was going for like a team that wants to control the game and score one or two goals, to secure and, go and have a 1-0 win, then Declan Rice makes his team. But England aren't that team. They're not going to have 1-0 wins. It's going to be, you need to be constantly trying to create chances. The mentality that England should have going into this tournament is just attacking. Attack is the best form of defence. Okay. So that's why Bellingham makes it and Rice
even against
doesn't.
Those scary teams like France.
Up against France, you would, I think.
Because remember, this is the World Cup final, Euro 2021 final. The first match against Croatia is all of those things.
If it was against France or even Croatia, well, if it was up against France, even then Rice wouldn't get him. It would be Calvin Phillips, purely for his work rate for a team like France rather. And if it was a team like Croatia, Bellingham still. Rice doesn't get in.
Okay.
Because Croatia will just sit back and wait for that counter-attacking opportunity, and it'll be really hard to break down the team.
Okay. So that's the first of the centre mids filled in. Now, I can see here you've got Phil Foden in the team.
Yeah.
Are you playing him on the wing, or are you playing him in midfield?
He's going to go on the wing.
Okay. What is the reason for that? Obviously, when he plays for Manchester City, he's on the wing, but some would put him as a cam. What's the reasoning behind the positioning for Phil Foden? And the reasoning for him being in the team in general?
I think he's too good to be playing further back in the field, really. You want that type of creativity up top, you know. He playing from the right or the left, he can create on both feet, and only on, was it Wednesday night, he showed how great he can be. Like, he should have scored that chance that he just danced through the defence, and that's what England need. England hasn't had a flair player like that for a while, that will just take on defenders, just constantly taking them on. And I wouldn't want him doing that in midfield, because then you have 2 or 3 opposition midfielders to get past. Get him on the wing, one-on-one with the fullback, he's going to get past them. I'd back him to get past them most of the time with his skill.
Fair enough. Of course, this was another of the controversial decisions, because if you played him at right wing, which is where you've got him listed on your sheet here, it means that you are pretty much forced to admit, Sterling and Jadon Sancho. What are the reasonings behind either? Are they out because you don't want them in, or are they just not better than Phil Foden in this scenario?
I mean, I think Sterling not being in the team is pretty obvious. He's had a terrible season.
Okay.
He's had a really bad season. And also, not only that, he's had his opportunities already to perform for England in big tournaments, and he hasn't.
I was going to say, one of the notes I've got here is I was going to question whether the experience of Sterling would count a lot in this. But of course, you only think about Sterling playing for England. Can you name a big game, an important game, where Sterling has had a world-class performance? I certainly can't. He plays against some of the, for want of a more respectful word, lesser teams. He can come into his own, and for Manchester City, obviously, he's had form in the past, but I think the experience doesn't outweigh the fact that he is in probably some of the worst form of his career.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get back from this, but right now, he should not be in England. I'm sure Gareth Southgate will take him, but at the moment, he's just lacking confidence, and I think in the last game that he started, I think that showed massively.
Yeah, well, the other, of course, omission from the right wing is Jadon Sancho. Don't forget, this is a player that was valued at £180 million in the summer. What is you're leaving out £180 million player?
Again, he hasn't. I know he's injured at the moment, and he didn't really have a great start to the season. He had an alright, when he just got injured, he was kind of picking up form a bit, but he's injured again.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it comes down to the thing again. If you can get a few game times, a few games in before the Euros, then maybe.
Okay, well, later on. We'll go on to your backup wingers when we cover the left wing. Let's go back to the midfielders now. You said you had one CDM and 2 centre mids. Who are your 2 centre mids?
So I'm going to go with Mason Mount and is it James Maddison? Yeah,
James Maddison for Leicester.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously here Phil Foden isn't in the centre, so you've got room for 2 of them. What are your reasonings behind these 2 players?
So for Mason Mount, obviously, I think he's been pretty much dragging Chelsea this season with his creativity. Just his creativity alone. He creates so many chances. He scores a lot of chances, creates a lot of big chances, gets assists as well. And then with James Maddison, again, does the same things for Leicester. Creates chances, and he's got insane vision, having someone like Vardy that's constantly making runs, and he seems to find that pass most of the time. So Maddison and another thing with Mount as well is that I don't know if a lot of people have watched Chelsea this season, but his work rate in the midfield as well. He goes forward a lot, he makes those runs forward, but he gets back. He's that box to box midfielder. And with him and Bellingham there, I'm sure they can cover that midfield. And Maddison doesn't really get back that much, but I'm sure he would put in a shift.
Yeah, so, okay, well, obviously, you picked those two centre mids, and we got just the left wing to go. Well, left wing wise, who have you gone with here?
So I've gone for Jack Grealish.
Okay, that's interesting. Left out Rashford?
Rashford made my squad again.
Mm-hmm.
But Grealish, come on. Again, another flair player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, two flair players in the team. I just feel as if like England, whenever they go to a tournament, the players just seem to lack confidence. And if there's one thing that they don't lack, Grealish and Foden, is confidence. They're always constantly. So why Grealish is the most power player in the Premier League, even this season as well. He constantly just wants to stay complete, and he gets past them most of the time. So they have to foul him, and that's what I just want to see, that attacking intent all the time. And I think this season Rashford hasn't been in that great of a form.
Okay.
And he just hasn't got the same flair. I know a lot of people might disagree. He just hasn't got the same flair as Jack Grealish. He just hasn't, you know. The same creativity as well. Both of those players, both on my left and right wing, can pick a pass as well. So, yeah.
Have you got a preference between the James Maddison and Mason Mount in terms of who goes on the left and who goes on the right?
Nah, that shouldn't matter too much.
Do you want them to be free flowing throughout the game, or do you want, you know, you said you don't mind which way they are. If you had to pick, which side you put in Mason Mount?
If I had to pick,
you teaming up with Luke Shaw and Jack Grealish, or are you teaming Mason Mount up with Wan-Bissaka and Phil Foden?
Wan-Bissaka and Phil Foden.
Okay.
Yeah.
So finally, we'll come to the striker. Now, again, I'm sure this one's a solid one, but would you like to explain your thoughts on the England captain?
I mean, this is
Harry Kane?
a no-brainer, really.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Kane up top, highest scorer in the Premier League. Was it Golden Boot in the last tournament as well? Yeah, I don't think much else needs to be said. Again, in some games you can make the argument that, you know, obviously he'll start every game, but I think if England are finding it really hard to stretch teams and that, I think I'd start Calvert-Lewin over Kane, purely because Kane's that kind of, he'll drop off, make those passes and spin in behind. Calvert-Lewin is more like, I'm the target man, I'm going to run long, I'm going to get a head on. Mm-hmm. It's just stretching teams, it's just pulling teams about.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas Kane he'll try and stay more, which he tries to stay more central, and it's just easier to condense as a defense and defend against that. However, especially if you got Foden and Grealish, if you have someone like Calvert-Lewin running in behind, doing what he did for Everton this season, running in behind, heading the ball on, and then for the ringers to run in behind, then yeah.
Okay.
Not obviously not.
So if Kane's injured, is that who you're starting?
Yeah, if Kane's injured, then yeah, Calvert-Lewin.
Okay. Who else is anyone else going on striker wise in the squad?
Yeah, Rashford. Rashford would be my backup striker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you're playing. So Rashford is the third option, though.
Third option.
I forgot to ask, by the way, who are your backups? Who's in your squad for your left wing and your midfielders?
Oh, yeah. So for
we skipped past them. That was my fault. I was keen to get to see you playing a left wing.
So backups and midfielders. So obviously I've said this before. CDM backup would be Calvin Phillips for his work rate. He's been sensational for Leeds this season, and backup in that position as well will be Declan Rice, and then for Mount I'd have Jesse Lingard.
Okay, I was gonna ask that.
Yep. Player, he's changed the way. Well, I mean, West Ham were having a good season before he got there, but he's just taking them to a different level. He's taking them to challenge for the top 4 spot now. That's what he's done. And then, yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. How many players have you got in your squad? You've got 23.
I think it's more than 23. I was
going to say that
it's up to 23, isn't it?
No, how many have you got? Have you picked 23? Or have you picked 20?
Oh, I've got 25 in.
25, I was going to say, because usually there's 23.
Yeah.
It was announced that there would be 26 in this squad for the Euro 2021 because of COVID reasons. Not entirely sure how that makes sense. Obviously, if you invite more people to the event, then there's more chance of someone bringing COVID with them. But I don't, whatever. Maybe it's in case if someone gets COVID, it means that you've got more backup. I'm not sure why.
I think it's because of the whole season. Like COVID's already put the season back. What is it? When does the Euro start? Is it June?
England's first match is June 13th.
Yeah. And so what? It's not even going to be a full month in between the season finishing.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's for fitness wise.
Yeah, so fitness wise. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, Gareth Southgate has said that he's opposed to this. But he will have to pick the 26 players. I can't remember where I read it, but it was either the FA or Euro 21 said that he had to.
That's surprising.
That's annoying because I was gonna say I was hoping I'd spring that surprise on you and you'd have to think on your feet and then pick who else is joining you. Are you picking if you say from this point you had now, are you picking you had 3 more to come. Are you picking Mason Greenwood, Danny Ings? Danny Ings as a to come on in the 80th minute to bag that goal to make sure we don't get knocked out.
No, I don't think I'll take Ings to the Euros. Honestly,
not Patrick Bamford.
Again, no. I'm sure Patrick Bamford is a good striker. Again, he's done brilliantly with Leeds, and his work rate is insane. But Kane is just better. Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but in my opinion, he's better than Patrick Bamford.
Fair enough. Well, if you've been tearing your ears out listening to Ty's lineup and his analysis of the England players, you can comment down below your thoughts. We will read them and I'll get you to respond to them, and we'll see what fireworks go off down below. Finally, then, we come up with the team. Just to wrap up, we've got Nick Pope in goal, Harry Maguire and John Stones as the centre-back partnership, with the 2 Manchester United left-back and right-back squad members of Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Midfield, you've gone for one CDM in Bellingham. He plays for Borussia Dortmund. I'm sure a lot of people may disagree on that one, but we'll have to wait and find out. We've also got James Maddison and Mason Mount, 2 young players that you've talked to a bit of flair as to why they're in the squad. Yeah. Up front, we've of course got Harry Kane. Left wing, we've got Jack Grealish, and right mid, we've got right wing. Sorry, we've got a right wing playing Phil Foden.
It's a very attacking squad.
Very attacking squad.
Very attacking.
So you're risking it all. You're risking.
Yeah,
you want to play on the
feel
front
like
foot.
you can't go there and play it safe.
Fair enough.
I feel like there's a few of the teams that they feel as if they underperformed at the last World Cup and the Euros before. Belgium will feel like they need to win the Euros. They
that's
feel
a team we haven't spoken about so far. Of course,
France,
Belgium is
strong opposition as it is.
Of course,
Spain has been finding in form again.
Yeah.
Germany, I know, while they haven't been that great international lately, they're still tough opposition.
Yeah.
The Netherlands, so I think it might be easy for us to get through the group stages, but after that, you just want to see that attacking intent come. So I think that's what England fans will want to see, just attacking intent. And if you go out swinging, then you go out swinging rather than trying to play Bellingham and Declan Rice in midfield and only one attacking midfielder, either Mount or Maddison or even Jack Grealish there.
Well, I think many people wouldn't play Bellingham at all, let alone play him.
Okay, or even 2 CDMs.
You just want to play that attacking fully for football.
Yeah.
It's the sports fans want either a winning team or a team which excites them. Yeah. And you're going for the exciting team, even though we're going to crash out and lose every single game. But
that's the reasoning behind my 2 fullbacks as well. It's like Luke Shaw. Both of them are very defensive minded. It's not attack minded fullbacks, because I'm sure if Trent was in form, I'd choose him, and then my midfield would look a whole lot different. Yeah,
because Trent obviously ventures far forward, is crucial for attacks.
Unfortunately, England don't have that this season, so we have to adjust.
That's fair enough. We were talking about potential top teams that we could face. We haven't actually looked at the chart yet to see who we could possibly face. But how do you think? Without that, we will do another podcast. I was meant to plug this a little bit later, but we'll be doing another podcast where we break down who we think is going to get out of each group stage and therefore see the potential pairings in the quarterfinals, semi-finals and final to decide who we think will win each of those matches. But without that aid at the moment, how How well are England doing in this tournament? Is it coming home? Or is it going to France?
You know what? I hope the fans back it like they did.
You hope it was like
Cup.
that
I hope they do, you know.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's belief there. And I feel like going into this tournament, there's not that much belief. I mean,
we've got
a good squad, but in the past,
squad.
England have had good squads as well, and they have not performed.
You of course think back to the 2014
World
Cup.
I'm going to say...
What are you saying?
We'll get knocked out in the quarter-final stages.
So you've just gone and said that I hope the fans have that belief, and then said knocked out in the quarterfinals. Yeah. Okay.
That's my prediction. I hope the fans back the team still, but for me, I honestly don't think this squad, regardless of who Gareth Southgate's picks, I don't think they'll be able to get to the final. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I really do. Too, yeah.
I really do, but yeah.
Okay, so England not getting to the final. Who are... Again, we don't know what the potential matchups could be.
Yeah.
Who are the two finalists for you in terms of for the Euro 2021?
I think France. They've shown.
Are they your prediction for them to win the entire thing? Okay, and who's joining them if the matchup tree
honestly,
works out?
I don't know how it's going to go, but for me,
Belgium.
I'd want to see Belgium.
I think a France-Belgium open attacking playing game would be a spectacle.
I wouldn't mind watching like France-Germany as well.
Are you talking about what you'd like to see in the World Cup, or what you think is going to happen? Who are the two strongest teams?
Two strongest teams for me going into the Euros are France and Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we've got an exciting summer to look forward to. Obviously, it's tantalising. The Euro 2021 been delayed a year, but it is almost upon us. England's first game, June 13th, against semi-final. Is a semi-final replay of the World Cup against Croatia. As I say, we will be doing another podcast where we go through the matchups and the layout of the tournament, so we can see who could potentially face who, and we'll do that in another podcast where we literally just predict who's going to make it out of the groups and what's going on. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for listening to our podcast. I hope you found it entertaining. If you did so, then please feel free to subscribe and rate our podcasts on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever it is that you're listening to us, because it really does help us hopefully get some more listeners for our young podcast. In the next episode, we're not entirely sure what we're doing. I have got a Cyberpunk episode planned where I'll be going through the history of CD Projekt Red, who are the game studio behind it, the difficulties that came with the game, and some developments that have come out since the disastrous launch of one of the best-selling games of all time.
I think our next Match Day podcast is going to be about Team of the Season, Premier League Team of the Season.
Oh yeah, we will be doing the next sporty podcast. Will be Ty if he hasn't been controversial enough. He's gone and picked his Premier League. I promise that
one will have stats to back it up.
That one have stats. Players. You're going to be doing
the best players.
Okay. Well, I'm keeping him away. Premier League Team of the Seasons haven't been released officially by anyone so far, but I've got the FIFA Premier League Team of the Season, and we'll be comparing it to that. You can listen to that one if you subscribe, so you don't miss it. We've also got other things. We've got movies and other pop culture stuff we like to talk about. If you want to challenge Ty, again, comment down in the description of the YouTube video.
Please do.
You can,
honestly.
Please do. He's raring up. He's got his face, but he's got his American football paint on and boxing gloves on. He's ready for a fight. But if you're not watching on the YouTube, then you can contact us on our social media accounts. Twitter, we are at S_Bandwagon. Instagram, we're Where's the Bandwagon. And as I say, I will be uploading this whole podcast to YouTube and clips to YouTube, so you can check it out. And hopefully you can subscribe and share and all that lovely stuff. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.